Arik Gilbert, former LSU player, former Marietta High School wide receiver and tight end, will be coming to Georgia to play. Matt DeBerry, Dean Legge talking about the Georgia Bulldogs. This is we're going to talk later in the week about the background of all of this, Matt. But just your first reaction. I mean, I'll just tell you, for me, when I saw him play at Marietta, he's one of the best high school football players I've ever seen play.
Absolutely. We've seen him multiple times, and I was able to get to know Arik and his family when he was at Woodward Academy, his first year of high school before going to Marietta. So it's been fun and a wild time covering his high school career, one of the best in Georgia history for a receiver tight end like that, his recruitment, and now him being in the transfer portal. But, we have learned recently that, Arik's at his happiest. He went through some tough, dark times at LSU and still found a way to make a big impact because he is such a talented player. I've learned that he's coming to Georgia as a receiver. He's coming to catch the football, and he's happy about that. He's fine academically. I've been told that all that is squared away. So if he is able to play, again, we haven't been confirmed that. You know about that more than I do. But if he is allowed to play this year, I do think he's going to make a very, very big impact.
Yeah, this is where the details of the SEC and the NCAA are going to be in play. The NCAA is allowing one-time transfers. The SEC has not granted that as of the time that we're recording this. So, Georgia has gotten three big transfers this offseason. And we are, four. Golly, I'm sorry, man. I keep saying West Virginia, Alabama, LSU, and Clemson. So all of those programs have lost a player to Georgia, and the Clemson and West Virginia, we know for sure will be able to play game one in terms of NCAA bylaws. We don't know yet about Alabama and LSU players coming into play. The inside baseball on this is, Georgia about lost a kidney a year ago when two players were allowed to play that transfer. Excuse me, just one specifically, Cade Mays, was allowed to play and not sit out a year after transferring inside the league. That was because of COVID that Greg Sankey allowed it. That was the explanation the SEC used. Georgia was pissed, furious, I would say. It was about as mad as I'd ever heard the administration when discussing this topic. So my suspicion is they're going to expect immediately that Arik Gilbert will be able to play. The transfer from Alabama, I don't know, but this may all not matter at all, Matt, because the conference may say, hey, you can transfer immediately and play. And this is just not just football. And I don't want to get so far off against Arik, far away from what Arik going to Georgia means. But, this has happened in basketball, and guys are expecting to play immediately at places like Kentucky and Auburn when they just played for the Dogs this past year. So we're going to see. And this is what the transfer portal has become and what it is. And this one-time transfer, I just don't see how the SEC can do anything about this. They're going to probably have to allow it. And that would mean that Arik Gilbert would be playing receiver for the Dog. I mean, you lose George Pickens for a time, and you pick up Arik Gilbert.
He's a freak.
Is a total freak. I mean, this is a guy that certainly could be. You try not to go so fast here. He certainly could be a first-round guy. I mean,
I've seen him make one-handed catches against Rome in the end zone. I've seen him up close and personal a lot. And, Kirby has lost a lot of talented guys to the transfer portal, but this is a situation where he brings one in. So
by and large,
guys are going to leave, but guys are going to come in.
The transfer portal so far has been pretty good to Kirby.
Absolutely. And but no, he is a talented player, and he catches a lot of passes. But if you don't know about Arik, if you're just the average Georgia fan who maybe didn't know about him in high school and now he's coming from LSU, this is a guy 6'5", like 250 out of high school who runs a 4.5. I mean, you just don't see guys run like he does at his size. And you throw in the athleticism, dude could have balled on the basketball court if he wanted to, but big, strong hands. I mean, he's got the physical tools. And he's a football player. I mean, when they needed a big pass, Harrison Bailey went to Arik Gilbert. He had a lot of other wide receivers too, but Arik was the guy who just beat defenses every single play. And again, the fact that he, had 300 receiving yards, couple touchdowns at LSU when he was going through so much, my source told me a happy Arik Gilbert in Athens, what he's capable of when he's, all in and focused and living his best life. who knows the potential that he has. So it could be scary, and they need a guy like him, a big physical presence without George Pickens.
Yeah, you lose George Pickens, who certainly is one of the best college wide receivers in the game right now. I mean, Eric Gilbert is as difficult to deal with as anybody in college football. I don't know why this came to mind, but I do want to say it, which is that, the direct comparison I would make is someone who no one remembers, which is Juan Gadsden. He played at Columbia in the 90s. He wound up playing basketball at Georgia Tech. Anybody from DeKalb County in that time knows what I'm talking about. That guy was a freak. He ran down Patrick Pass on a straight line one time. He ran him down. That was stunning to watch. Eric Gilbert is like that, but actually a little bit more refined in terms of his football talent. Juan's nickname was Chico. Chico, ain't nobody could play like that guy. He just wound up playing basketball at Tech, and it didn't work out. Eric Gilbert physically is as complicated a person to deal with that I can think of, Matt. I mean, I don't know what position at receiver he's going to play, but now you have the capability of...
He's a guy you could move all around.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could still... Let's just think about close to the end zone. He wouldn't be a tight end, but you could still have Fitzpatrick, Darnell, and him on the field at any given moment.
But his ability to block on the outside, too, like a tight end, but block on the edge is something that a lot of guys can't do. He's still a physical presence, but...
It's another five-star that's going to Georgia, too. That's the part that I don't want to, overdo. This team is loaded up. There's going to kind of be no excuses, for Kirby. This team is really good.
I've been told that he's in the best shape of his life. He still trains with Terrence Edwards since he's been back home. And, I was told that Terrence had a conversation with my source, and Terrence was like, Eric he's still a freak. He's great. He's in, a positive mood, and he's been grinding. He's a player.
The interesting thing, I want to go back to that October day when he picked LSU over Georgia and Alabama. No one in the world of recruiting saw that coming, right? That was weird.
The guy up
Take me
on
back to
the
that.
table with him was surprised he was going to LSU. And again, we'll have more on this, but he chose Georgia over LSU again. Part of him almost went back because, he said, this is the team I signed with. I need to stick it out, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I do think Georgia's probably the best fit for him. But it came down to Georgia and LSU in the end. Go back to LSU, start new at Georgia.
No, he was never good. I don't want to overspeak.
Right.
I just... Him going back to LSU, from what I understand, was unlikely.
His camp was not going to allow that to happen,
Right.
But I think Arik in his mind was like,
it's tough to
absolutely.
Leave your school. LSU was his school for sure, but he is an elite play. Just y'all wait till you see him running with the ball in his hands. It's not like Darnell. Like Darnell will run you over, and you're not going to catch Eric Gilbert. He's going to be gone.
He's a deer. He picks up a lot of yards and quickly, and he'll stiff arm you too. He's 250 running that fast. Special player, Dean.
He's going to be hard to deal with for everybody in the SEC. That's for sure. And Clemson. Today was not a good day for the Clemson. I see your eyes. Today was not a good day for the Clemson Tigers, but Clemson can. That's one game. If you're Florida, I don't know how you match up with this guy necessarily. Yeah. And at some stage, I think at some stage, George Pickens will be back at Georgia. The question is, how late in the year will that happen? And now if you've got Eric Gilbert, it just never ends at Georgia. Georgia adding Eric Gilbert. Make sure to go to dogpost.com, check out more. We'll see you over on the website.